What's going on, guys? If you're new here, this is the Adventures of Rogers and Henderson, and today we're here at Automotive Solutions in Belvedere to show you guys our new Rock Crawler Pro-X 4-link triangulated rear conversion system. We installed this kit on our 2021 two-door base Sasquatch. We have the 2.3-liter EcoBoost, the 10-speed automatic, the M210 and M220 differentials, both with 470 gears and electronic lockers. Now, this is an all-new system from Rock Crawler. It's designed to improve on-road and off-road performance. If you've ever driven a Bronco down the highway and you hit a bump, you felt the rear end kick to the side. Or if you've ever been off-roading in your Bronco, you've probably lifted a tire a time or two. This system solves all of that. But before we get into how this system fixes that, let's talk about the Ford factory setup. Ford utilizes parallel upper and lower control arms and incorporates a track bar to center the axle to the vehicle. The flaw with the Ford design is that the track bar can pivot both at the frame mount and at the axle mount. So that means the centering of the axle is actually a reactionary process instead of a constant. And with having the upper and lower control arms parallel, they can actually bind when you're flexing or articulating off-road, thus stopping the axle from flexing any further and causing you to lift the tire. All right, so this is how the crew in Rock Crawler solved all of that. They developed this truss, which brings the upper control arm mounts center on the axle. By centering on the axle, it creates triangulation between the frame side and axle side mounts. This triangulation causes equal pressure side to side on the axle, making the centering of the axle a constant. Also, by getting the upper control arms up and out of the way, it gets them away from the lower control arms, eliminating the possibility for bind and allowing for further articulation. Now, when you're articulating, the only thing holding you back is your shock length and the amount of space you have to go up. All right, so the install process itself is pretty straightforward, but it is time consuming. Now, I didn't feel confident enough to weld on my own axle, so we reached out to our friend Tom at Automotive Solutions and he got us hooked up. First, you got to drop the fuel tank. I do recommend running the gas as low as you feel comfortable just to make it lighter. Next, you got to disconnect the brakes, the brake lines, and any clips on the axle itself. You need to disconnect the factory links and the drive shaft. Then you can remove the axle. We use the forklift and get it down and out of the way. Now here comes a point of no return. You need to cut off the upper control arm mounts from the axle. And next you need to grind off any stubble and clean up the mounting surface for the truss. Then it's time to weld the truss onto the axle itself. Once all that's done, you can paint it and seal it up and make it look nice. Then it's time to install your new Pro-X links to the upper control arm frame mounts. Then you reconnect your lower links, reconnect your brakes, your brake lines, and any clips back to the axle. And now you can reinstall your fuel tank and you're ready to party. All right, so when we were done, we used the forklift to measure the flexibility of this thing compared to previous, and we measured 27.5 inches.
What is happening?
Holy shit.
That is wild.
Wow.
Okay, I'm impressed. You did a good job.
Are we still going? Yeah, it's still going. Yeah, I think you just released.
Barely, if it
Made
is.
a lot of pressure off of
Holy balls. I just trusted a little. That's crazy impressive.
Yeah, now here, stop right there.
Our previous round with the forklift, we got 21.5 inches, and a stock Bronco Sasquatch measured out at a measly 16.5 inches. So that brings us to our problem with this kit. With the Icon coilovers, we have no up travel limit, so we can actually flex too far up and get into the wheel well, the fender, and the bumper. So we got to come up with a solution for that. Right now, our options are either a hydraulic bump stop kit, or we could switch to the Rock Crawler coilovers. I know they have a built-in up travel limiter because that's how Rock Crawler developed the system. Or do we try just swapping out some aftermarket fenders and an aftermarket bumper and hope that that's all it hits? So let us know down below what you would do. We haven't really made up our minds yet. All right, so let's talk about our experience with the system. We had the kit installed this weekend, and the first thing we did on Monday was drive down to the Badlands It's a 400-mile round trip. We hit the same set of railroad tracks every time we drive to and from the Badlands. And every single time, it kicks the rear out passenger. And this is the first time we didn't experience that. It felt fantastic. It's nice and smooth. The steering is tight. The cornering is tight. Changing lanes feels tight. Instead of having the front leading and the rear trying to catch up, it's like the front is guiding, but you're still pushing through the rear. It's a whole different feeling. It feels fantastic. All right, so let's go over off-road performance. Now, we specifically went down to the Badlands and did obstacles where I know that I have footage of our Bronco lifting a tire before, just so we can show you guys a side-by-side comparison on the exact same obstacle, and just so you can see for yourselves how much of a difference it really makes.
He's living dangerously today.
Floating? It's gotta come down eventually.
Stupid. Oh yeah.
Alrighty guys, so that concludes our review. I hope we've given you a lot to think about. I've tried to cover everything the best that I can. If there are any questions that I didn't answer, please feel free to ask down below. I'll do my best to answer them for you. All in all, I'm super happy with the kit. The Bronco itself is fun to drive again. It feels great off-road. You don't need to be a serious off-roader to get benefits for the system, but whether or not it's worth it for you, you'd have to weigh out the cost and work that goes into it for yourself. I personally think it's 100% worth it. All right, so I'd like to give a special shout out to my wife, Courtney, for putting up with my crazy ass to make sure we got this done. I know it was a lot of bouncing back and forth with the kids and the work and everything else. So thank you for all your help. I love you. I'd also like to thank our friend Tom from Automotive Solutions. He went above and beyond to help us get this kit done, work around our crazy work schedules, and make sure we got this thing done before the next event. So shout out to Tom. Make sure to check them out on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and all the social media. We'll link that down below. Also, thanks to Rockcrawler for taking the time to put this kit together. You're really helping push the Bronco platform forward, and we're looking forward to what comes next. All right, guys, we appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you didn't, let me know why down below in the comments, and I will work on improving that in the future. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss any of the upcoming off-roading shenanigans or installs we have coming up. And until the next adventure, peace.